The Soundcore Life Q30s are the latest set of active noise cancellation headphones coming from our friends over at Soundcore. Now, these are packing a laundry list of features, so make sure you stick around to the very end so you can find out exactly whether or not these are the right ones for you. Now, if you're interested in checking these out for yourself, check out the links I'm going to leave in the description box right down below. This way you can get the latest updated pricing. Now, before we go any further, and for full disclosure, because I like having transparency and honesty with my viewers, Soundcore did reach out to me. They sent over this review sample for my honest opinion and review. If you have any questions or concerns about the way that I receive or review any of these products, check out the full disclosure that I'm going to leave in the description box right down below. So first up, let's talk about the connection. So these are featuring Bluetooth 5.0, and as far as their connection codec, they are using AAC and SBC. So there's no compatibility issues whether you're using them with an iOS or an Android device. I've tested these across multiple Android phones from different makes and an iPhone 11 along with an iPad Pro. No compatibility issues whatsoever. As far as pairing goes, they do feature fast pairing with NFC, so you can pair them quickly with your Android devices by simply tapping them to your phone, assuming you have the NFC turned on, of course. But either way, if you want to just go through a normal pairing process, obviously on your device, you go into pairing mode and you look for the Life Q30 headphones, pair them up, pair quickly, easy peasy, no problems. Now, as far as watching video, lag, latency, anything like that, I haven't experienced any latency when watching video. It didn't matter if it was on YouTube, Hulu, Netflix, whatever it might be, I didn't experience any video latency whatsoever. Now, when it comes to gaming, if you're just a casual gamer like your boy El Jefe, where I'm just playing Asphalt 9 or I'm playing 1945, games like that, just casual type games, no issues with latency whatsoever. But if you are playing high performance first-person shooter games where you might be a stickler for that latency, you will experience a little bit of latency when gaming. Now, if that's a deal breaker for you, then you may have to look elsewhere. But if it's not that big of a deal, it's pretty minimal, but it is noticeable, and I just wanted to throw that out there. Now, as far as another connection method, these do feature a 3.5mm port, so you still can run them wired if you choose to. And they do include the 3.5mm aux cable in the box. Now, last but not least, these do feature multi-point connection, and it's good for up to 2 devices. So multi-point is where you can have them paired to 2 devices at the same time. Now, obviously, you're not going to be mixing audio sources, nothing like that. You still have to use them one at a time, but you don't have to unpair and repair them to each of your devices. And it works very well. I actually had mine paired to the iPhone 11 and to the Pixel 5 at the same time. Pretty sweet if you ask me. And I have to give Soundcore kudos for this because multi-point connections are a feature that you normally only see on high-end expensive headphones. So major kudos to them for including this on a sub $100 headphone. Now, before we move into the next section, I got to give a quick member shout out to my channel members that are directly supporting this channel. First up, Jeremy B, Jimmy O, Ruben J, and Armida. Thank you so much for directly supporting this channel by joining me as channel members. Your help is directly supporting me creating these videos for you, and it's highly appreciated. So now let's move over to the battery life. So Soundcore was claiming 40 hours with the active noise cancellation turned on and 60 hours with the noise cancellation turned off. In my own actual testing at 75% volume, I was able to get 43 hours and 22 minutes with noise cancellation turned on and 62 hours and 51 minutes with noise cancellation turned off. So as I had expected, Soundcore outperformed their own claims and they are giving you excellent battery life with these headphones. Easily enough to rival some of the top dogs in the game. And they also feature a fast charging mode where if you happen to run the battery all the way down, you can plug these in for 5 minutes and that's going to give you an additional 4 hours worth of playback time. So they've got you covered if you ever run that battery down. As far as charging, they are using USB Type-C and they also include a USB-C to USB-A cable in the case. And they also include a case with these headphones. So it's a nice case. Zips all the way around, molded so the headphones fit inside perfectly, got a little pocket for your cables, you're good to go. So kudos to them for also including a case with these headphones. Now that's going to bring us over to the question of the day. Would you prefer a headphone that looks good but sounds bad, or a bad looking headphone that sounds good? What's more important to you, sound quality or style? Let me know down in the comment section. So now let's move over to the build and the comfort. So overall, the build quality on these is very good. So they're using a plastic and aluminum type of build construction, which is normal for their types of headphones. It doesn't feel cheap or weak in any way. They sort of have a ratcheting mechanism along the headband, gives you a decent amount of adjustment, especially for a large head like my own. I didn't have any problems finding that comfortable spot as far as the ear cups were concerned. As far as padding is concerned, on the headband, it's okay. On the ear cups themselves, it's sort of like that memory foam kind of a deal. So it is pretty comfortable overall, even if you have larger ears. But I will say this, the ear cups themselves are a bit on the shallow side. So if you have ears that stick out a little bit more, that could be an issue for you. So make sure you keep that in mind. Now, these headphones are also foldable and rotatable, so they do pack away very easily in their aforementioned case. Overall, the build quality is light, the case itself is light, but it doesn't have that cheap feel to it. So overall, I'm actually very happy with the build quality of these. To me, it feels like a step up from the previous versions. So now that's going to bring us over to the Soundcore app. Now, these headphones are fully compatible with the Soundcore app, unlike some of the other Soundcore headphones. So that means you're going to get full access to, your firmware updates. It's going to give you the different modes. It's also going to give you the 22 built-in EQ presets and access to the graphic equalizer, so you can make your own custom adjustments if you want to do that. One of the things that kind of caught me by surprise is the fact that they have this sleep setting along with a timer. So a timer is pretty obvious, where you can set a timer and they will shut themselves off. But the sleep mode, it gives you all these different sound effects like water, rain, wind chimes, things like that. And you can actually mix them. Like you can have a combination of rain and wind chimes or whatever you want it to be. I thought that was kind of cool. So they included that in there and it actually works pretty well. So overall, pretty nice. And then they also give you control over the 3 different modes of these headphones, and those modes being off, ANC, and ambient. But within the active noise cancellation, you also get 3 modes. You get indoor, outdoor, and transport. So for me personally, it felt like the indoor mode was the strongest of the active noise cancellation, but all 3 are still very, very good. Now, for me personally, the active noise cancellation on the Life Q30s has to be the best under $100. And I know that's pretty crazy for me to say, considering the competition. You've got the Tri-Bit Quiet Pluses out there. You've got the Tautronics 46s out there. And this is definitely taking the cake for sheer power of noise cancellation, but also the fact that you can adjust that noise cancellation with the 3 different modes based on your environment. That's pretty cool. And I think that's what gives these the best noise canceling performance for under $100. Very, very good if you ask me. As far as the ambient sound is concerned, it is decent. There is a bit of white noise associated with this ambient sound, so you do pick up some of that extra mic noise. So that's kind of one of the things that I was kind of like, oh, it could have been a little bit better, but at least it's here. And it's a feature that you're not seeing on a lot of headphones under $100. We're seeing ambient mode on more true wireless earbuds at this point than we are on headphones, which is pretty crazy. So I'm glad that they actually included it with the Life Q30s. And then last but not least, the ambient mode also features a quick attention mode. So that's basically where you can put your hand on the ear cup and it'll activate the ambient sound so you can hear what's going on around you. And then when you want to deactivate it, you go ahead and press your hand on it again and it'll take you back to active noise cancellation. So overall, pretty cool if you ask me. So now let's get into the volume and the sound quality. So first of all, the volume. These get plenty loud. Now, obviously, if you're a volume junkie, they're not going to be the loudest headphones on the market. But if I had to give them a volume rating, I'm going to give them a 8.5 out of 10. More than loud enough for me, where I'm comfortable listening to them at like 70 to 80% volume, not going to be a problem. And they have plenty of overhead for quiet dialogue in movies or videos. And then as far as the sound quality, so out of the box, these come with the Soundcore signature sound. So that is a strong bass boost with a bit of a treble boost, but very V-shaped. So that's sort of how they like to roll with it. So it's got that strong bass, it's got that strong treble, but kind of lacks in the mid-range. So me personally, I like to go into the EQ app and make my own adjustments. So usually I'll dial back the bass just a little bit, just to kind of tone it down a little bit, and I'll give it a bump in the mid-range and maybe a slight tweak in the upper end treble, just to kind of balance things out a little bit, because the bass is quite strong. So you kind of want to have more of a balanced type of sound if you want to enjoy vocals, or if you want to listen to different genres of music without having to make constant EQ adjustments. But like I said, that is just for my own personal taste. But there's a couple of EQ settings that I think you guys should definitely try out. If you're into bass, try the bass boosted mode. That one's really nice. Or even try the piano mode, which is really going to bring out that clarity in people's voices and in instruments and stuff. It's really going to improve that. The other thing I want you to try out is you can actually take one of the presets and you can adjust that preset. So you can start with one of the EQ presets and use that as a base to kind of make adjustments. Like with the piano, I really like that tuning, but it needs a little more bass. So I took the piano tuning and I added a bit more bass to it to sort of bring in a little more fullness to the sound. It made a huge difference. So something that you may want to try out for yourself, but it gives you excellent clarity and excellent bass at the same time. So overall, I really like the sound quality. That active noise cancellation is on point. Battery life is obviously on point, and yeah, I'm really enjoying these. But now let's talk about some of the gripes that I have with these headphones, because you know me, your boy El Jefe, we got to keep it a buck. So let's get into it. So first of all, there is no gaming mode with these headphones. So as I said before, if you're a gamer, this may be something that you want to skip. So unfortunately, no gaming mode, no movie mode, nothing like that. Secondly, as far as comfort goes, the shallow ear cups can be a problem. So for me personally, maybe about an hour and a half into listening to them, it was kind of giving me a little bit of discomfort because of the fact that I have large ears. So I wish the ear cups had just slightly more padding to them to kind of make them thicker or essentially deeper. And that way they sit out a little bit further. I think that would have been a great improvement because they are a bit on the shallow side. Thirdly, I think they could use much better call quality, much better microphones. That's just me. But make sure you stick around to the end to hear that call quality sample for yourself. Now, last but not least, and my biggest gripe of all, is that there is an EQ shift when you activate the noise cancellation. Now, what do I mean by that? So basically, when you turn that noise canceling on, if you're listening to music, you're going to notice that there is going to be a drop in bass. Now, it doesn't completely gut the sound, but it is a noticeable drop. Now, to be fair, you can compensate for this by going into the EQ and boosting that bass, and you can compensate for it. But you shouldn't have to do that. This is something that should just be done automatically. This is something that Soundcore should have anticipated when they go through the different EQ modes to adjust the EQ accordingly. And this way you don't hear a difference in the audio when you're switching between modes. So I believe that this is something that they can fix via a firmware update. And thankfully, they made these headphones compatible with their app, so firmware updates can happen. This is also something that I have brought up directly to my contacts at Soundcore. I have addressed this directly with them, and I am hoping that this doesn't fall upon deaf ears. So hopefully we will see a EQ update or a firmware update that will address this issue. Now, to be fair, this could be a unit variance thing where maybe only my review sample, because it is an early sample, has this issue. Maybe some of the other reviewers out there didn't experience this, but I 100% did experience this. And this is why I am sharing this with you, because like I said, you guys know what I'm known for. El Jefe, I'm known for keeping it a buck with my people. I'm known for keeping it honest and real with you. And this is something that I wanted to make sure that I address with you directly so that you're aware of both the good and the bad of any particular product. So now, before we go, I'm going to go ahead and play those call quality samples for you, and I'm going to let you determine whether or not you like that microphone quality for yourself.
All right, so here we have the call quality test for the Soundcore Life Q30. Obviously, I'm indoors. This is not a sound-treated room, so if you hear a little bit of extra echo, that's kind of what's going on here. So testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of crowd noise. Let's see how they do. So here we have the Soundcore Life Q30 with some simulated crowd noise, like something you would experience at a bus station, perhaps a crowded cafe, something along those lines. So testing, 1, 2, 3. As always, you're going to have to be the judge of the call quality down in the comments section.